Hello everyone, I welcome you all to another video by Legacy IAS where we are going to talk about a much less talked about topic but a very important tool as far as UPSC preparation is concerned. Every aspirant is troubled with some major questions. I am good in one subject, how do I cover the others? I am unable to remember a lot of the topics. I am unable to remember a lot of the facts which have come. How do I ensure accuracy as far as my prelims questions are concerned? How do I write the correct terminologies and information as far as mains is concerned? The answer to all of these questions and much more lies in the art of note making. This note making is essentially something of a habit that you need to develop, something of a perception that you need to create, and also use that to strengthen your preparation strategy. In this particular video, we're going to talk about the entire art as to how we basically make notes, what are the different methodologies that you can adopt, and how it can really benefit you in your journey. Now, as far as note making is concerned, the first thing we have to talk about is what are the major benefits? Like, why are we even discussing it in the first place? Okay. Now, you basically have to go through such a humongous syllabus, so many subjects, so many topics. Some of them you might be good at, some of them not so good and not so interesting according to your taste. In that scenario, you have to essentially kind of come up with ways in which you basically are able to concise the entire 250, 300, 400, how so many ever pages book that is there into the most smallest of form so that you are able to revise the most important points. You have understood the story very well, and when you're able to revise the important points, then you are better prepared in terms of information and development of perspectives. Okay, so the idea is that you are able to understand better. Once you write the notes, you are able to remember better. You are also developing the art of writing. Sometimes the art can be in the form of bullet points, it can be in the form of graphical representation, pictorial diagrams, maps, howsoever, depending upon the nature of topic in question, you basically have to make those different kind of notes. But the benefit out of any of these practices is that you are much better prepared on that particular topic, because the next time when you have to revise that, you will not open the book, you will revise those notes. Yes, you heard me right. And that is why we are able to revise better before the mains exams. When you have back to back papers, when you have so much to study in all these papers, the optionals, how best do you do that? If not notes, then how best do you revise your current affairs for the last 1 year? It all comes through the art of note making. So in this regard, our next question is that how do we make basically our notes, right? Now, here comes the most important part. We will be doing two types of note making. One is in a digital form, is in a non-digital form. As far as the digital form is concerned, my suggestion is restrict it only to current affairs. And as far as non-digital is concerned, everything that is non-current affairs. So it can be the static subjects, okay? Essentially, primarily the static subjects, the NCRTs, the standard books. Now, whenever you read any particular topic, as far as the note making is concerned, let's say you're talking about revolt of 1857, okay? So you have to basically read the entire topic, the portion that is there, whether you're doing it from Bipin Chandra or you're doing it from Spectrum. Okay. Read the entire topic. Then during that same length, come back again to that entire topic. Make several subheadings. What do you find? Let's say you find causes or you find background. Okay, or you actually have to write about the event, what happened, what culminated. you have to write the effects or outcomes. Okay, whatever are the broad themes around which your questions can be framed, which is why the most important way of doing it to begin with, you have to know the syllabus. There are two things which are extremely essential for any aspirant is number one, it's not something which is too open ended. There is a syllabus which you have to refer to, and there are the previous year's questions which you should be going through. These two are your reference points as far as your preparation strategy is concerned. And they will also help you in understanding what kind of notes have to be made and on what topics generally do you have to make the notes. Okay. Also, it becomes very important that how you kind of write it down. Do you write the entire sentence that is there in the book? Then what is a note? How are you doing it differently from what is there in the book? You do not have to make another book out of your notes. No, that is not the objective. The objective is you read the entire topic, you understand the concept behind it, write that concept in a couple of sentences in your own words, because it will show that you have understood, you have made sense of that entire story and the interpretation of it, and you're writing it in your own way. And then you can parallelly also write, let's say, cover these many points. If you're talking of the 1857 revolt, then under causes in simple bullet forms, or you can use some diagrammatic representation, which can also help you in your mains answers, because you can use that diagram directly. If it's a proper diagram, you can write the background there again in bullet. You can write the course of the event, the rulers, which is again a very, very important question, often comes as match the followings in prelims. Or you can even write the effects and outcomes, on which sometimes mains question also comes, right? So the point is that you concise that into some broad areas, reference of which is going to come from our syllabus or the previous year's questions. But primarily the idea is that you have to write it in the most concise, in the most precise manner, okay, in a bullet form, pictorial, whatever may be the representation, so that you're just able to, when you're revising, just able to look at all the important points, have a good recollection, and then start appearing for the test. All right. So the point is that how you are able to put these things together, reduce the 250 page book into as small a number of page book that you can make. It will give you so much of strength and confidence that you have covered this book, you've covered that book, especially before the night before the exam, right? So it is a way to which you basically are much more secure, much more prepared, and much more organized in your head when you are structuring it. Also, it's very important that while we are making notes, we stick to what's relevant, and this relevance is going to basically come from the syllabus and the previous year's questions. All right. So when we are trying to make notes, we have to remember all of these things in mind, that essentially what should be our key features, how should we be orienting ourselves, what kind of, and the way in which we should be making our notes. During static subjects, we can basically refer to as the non-digital notes, and during the current affairs, digital might be helpful. The idea behind it is basically that when you go for a non-digital notes, you can essentially, you're writing on your own. So when you're writing on your own, you are getting into the habit of A, writing, B, remembering, and 3, structuring. Okay. So when you do that, and that is possible for static subjects. That is possible for static subjects. I just mentioned modern history. It can be for polity. All right. It can be, let's say, what are the reasons or the grounds for joint sitting? What are the provisions or what are the outcomes of a joint sitting? So where you have like distinct pointers that you have to make, you have to remember for the purposes of your answers and discussion. That is where you essentially can use your non-digital notes, where you actually sit down and handwrite all of them. It'll be a much easier and rewarding process. You have to avoid using long sentences. It can just be like some rough work that you're doing, or either a pictorial or a diagrammatic representation that you're using. Sometimes acronyms are very, very helpful. Sometimes acronyms help you to remember things. It also help you to collate a lot of data. So, and it also reduces the amount of space it uses in your notes. In addition to this, we have to be very sure that during our particular answer, all the important keywords are included so that we don't miss on the important words. All right. It's important more for most of the subjects, actually, for polity, for economics, for environment, for science and technology, a lot of times for ethics, because you have to use a lot of these words like accountability, transparency, all right, governance, equity. So for all of this, the important keywords have to surely be included in your notes. That is a must. In all of this, when you are making your notes, always stick to your syllabus and make the most relevant yet concise points possible. Now, as far as the static subjects are concerned, I told you that the non digital notes can really help you and you can write things one after the other. But what happens with current affairs sometimes is that there might be an issue, there might be a particular policy, a government scheme which has come up, let's say in the month of February, and then again it has cropped up in the month of October. And in the month of October, there are either some changes or some perspectives which have been added, and you need to incorporate them into your existing note. So it's not always feasible to keep on adding a lot of papers physically and making your entire notebook extremely bulky and haphazard. Rather, the idea is to be little organized as well. So when you do current affairs, you can also segregate. You can, there are actually two ways of segregating. You can segregate it paper wise, or let's say the sub subjects wise. So it's a polity or a history or a geography or an economics. Okay. Or you can even segregate it according to the nature of the topic in question. Okay. So it can either be in the form of the papers that is in question, or in terms of whether it is a political matter, it is a geographical matter. So that really helps you. Again, people can have different strategies. You can just keep on, if you have a digital note, and one of the way of using it is, let's say, Evernote, you can refer to several other notes or several other methodologies that works for you, whatever works for you. But the point is, one after the other, you can just patch things below it. Okay, so that there is a continuation, and whenever you have to read about this particular topic, you know that everything is there in sync. And if you open that one particular document, you are able to read the entire concept here, right? So end to end, from a current affairs perspective, you are able to add this particular current affairs news under the different papers that you have to write. Let's say it's a GS paper, so you can do it according to the paper, or it is a political the subject wise paper, or you can do it according to that subject. So whatever may be the reason, sometimes there's an overlap also. Something can be relevant for political as well as like polity, or for economics. So you can add both of them. The matter can be referred under both these issues, under both these subjects. So the point is that this way you need not have to constantly handwrite and then keep fixing and stapling those pages. it's just more advisable to use digital notes as far as current affairs is concerned. It's slightly different for the static subjects where you can go for non-digital notes, and it also will help you into the practice of a lot of people have this hesitancy in answer writing, especially people from the science background who are much more used to using online digital models and infrastructure. So let's get back to our paper and pen, because UPSC uses that and we have to ultimately write it on a paper and pen with a pen. So it's always good to have your static content recorded in a non-digital format. If we look at the syllabus, besides the fact that it acts as a reference for us, and we can always kind of substantiate our notes, or rather make our notes based on this broad criteria, what is also very important as far as note making is concerned, that it's advisable to make notes of at least 3 to 4 sentences or one paragraph on every major topic, on every major terminologies, let's say, that is being given in your syllabus of the mains paper. So if there is a word like robotics here, or a nanotechnology, or a biotechnology, what it comprises, what it means, some broad ideas. This is also relevant for GS paper 1. Okay, there are a lot of these important terminologies. So basically, you cannot leave out pollution in your discussion of environment, because it forms as a particular part in your, as a distinct part in your GS paper 3. There is environmental impact assessment, so you need to know about it. You can just write, maybe make small notes on each of these keywords, each of these words, and also add it in your static content. You need to know the exact meaning and definition of what do you understand by extremism. If you're asked to write in mains, you need not be beating around the bush, but write probably a very good way of describing it. Okay, what do you basically understand by cyber security? What is the issue of money laundering? All right, every important topic. What do you understand by indigenization of technology? Okay, so just try to make like really short and small and concise notes on some important terminologies which definitely appear in the syllabus, and they just add to your static and current affairs based topics, right? So I really hope that even though this video was slightly exhaustive, but extremely important and relevant for your examination, and my sincere suggestion is please adopt it. Get into that habit of writing down, making that note, revising it, so that you are able to benefit much more from this entire journey. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. You can always like, share and subscribe this particular video. Share it with your fellow aspirants, and all us, let us be together in this journey. Thank you so much.